Okay, Mercedes GLK X204 chassis. This is a four-wheel drive model. It shouldn't make a difference, but the front lower control arm, the track arm that goes from the wheel hub or the spindle forward. So this one right here, it's got a rubber bushing on that end and a ball joint on this end. We're going to remove and replace them. And got all the torque specs and everything that I got from WIS. So if anybody has a problem with those torque specs, they're straight from Mercedes' mouth. Anyway, back in 1 minute, we'll get this started. Okay, so rear shield is out, and now the front shield, you have to drop the front jack that is up on that pad to get the front shield out because it pulls backwards. I believe I've got all the bolts. There we go. And we're going to take that out, and then I'm going to, for safety's sake, for the I don't want to die sake, I'm going to put that jack back up on that pad, and we'll be back in a minute. Now we've got access to the control arm, the front track arm, longitudinal track arm, whatever they want to call it, arm. Back in a sec. Okay, so this front subframe bolt for the cross strut, longitudinal strut, torque arm, whatever you want to call it, E20 socket on the front. That's a reverse Torx E20, and a 21 millimeter wrench, on the nut side. And it's pretty hard to get a socket on the other side, so the wrench is gonna have to be what it is, unless I can, if I turn the wheel, maybe there's a tiny little bit more space. As the tie rod moves that way a little bit, maybe tiniest bit if anything. So anyway, I'm going to take that off. It's just simply unscrew it. The bolt will come out this way toward the front. Thank God, if it went out that way, we'd have a pain in the ass. So it's going to come out this way, and we'll be back to undo the lower ball joint. Nut, big washer, bolt, big washer. Now we'll be able to see if there's actually a lot of wear in this thing. Let's take a look together. Sorry, I have to get you out of this tripod. See, anyway, this was clunking quite a bit. I believe, I'm hoping this is my front end clunk. Oh, I have the adjustable auto aiming headlight, so I have to take a 10 mil and take off these two bolts back here that attach to this little arm. Can you see it? They attach to this little arm. Yeah. For the self-adjusting headlights, I believe that just pushes off. I'm not going to push it off because I don't know 100% for sure. It should just be a ball joint that pushes off. But there's two little bolts there, two little 10 mils that hold that little assembly on. So back in a sec. And those two 10 mil bolts just simply unscrew from the arm. This is the driver's side. I don't know if it's different in Europe. If you drive on the right side of the road, I don't know if they'd move this arm to that side. I don't see. No, maybe they would, because the weight of the driver individually is more often just one person in the car. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. So we got that off, and now we're going to take the lower joint off here. I'm going to spray this with a little WD-40 to penetrate that, and I believe that is a 21 as well. Let's find out while we're here. That is a 21. Bada boom. 21. Okay, back in a sec. Okay, spritz a PB blaster. Make sure you take the right one. There's two lower ball joints. There's one on the control arm, the lower control arm, and one on this front torque, longitudinal torque arm. Yeah, it looks like it's separated in there. I hope this is the problem with my front end clunk, because I can't isolate to anywhere else. I can't find anything else. I'm assuming it is this, because when I put my hand on it, I can twist it back and forth. When it's bolted in there, I could move it back and forth. Not easily, well, easier than I think I should be able to. Let's just put it that way. And this ball joint sounds a little loose, no? So I think this is my issue. So I'm going to unbolt this, and then we'll be back to whack on it. Apologies, but I can't find my short tripod to get out of the car here, so I'm going to have to hold this while I'm doing the whackety whacks. I'm just going to whack on the knuckle here, not on the joint, on the knuckle. I can just pound it up. But I'm going to tap it on the knuckle pretty hard, where the taper comes through. That should break the taper. I should be able to tap it up. Back in a sec. Well, I'll try to do this while you're watching. Backwards handed. Break the taper. Now I'm gonna have to get a good swing at that, and I'm gonna need both hands. Back in a sec. And you're just essentially whacking on this, and that will break the taper. This is just a tapered shaft that runs down through, and it's held in there by friction. As you pull down with the nut, as you screw it in, it pulls it into the tapered joint like a triangle and traps it in there. Anyway, back in a sec. Okay, I ended up having to use a pickle fork, which is perfectly acceptable if you're throwing the part away. If you're reusing the ball joint, don't use a pickle fork, because it ruins the joint that you're removing. Now, which way do I have to turn this wheel? I believe I have to turn it this way in order to clear the CV boot. Yeah, should be that way. So I'm going to turn the wheel to the left. Back in a sec. Okay, with the arm off, you can see the split. Let's put the bolt in there to widen it a little bit. That was on that side. Let's see this side. I'm assuming if it's split on one side, it's probably going to be split on the other. It wasn't too loud, but knocks drive me nuts anyway. So anyway, I'm going to get the new one. Why has that got a little... Huh. I don't know why that has that little notch in it. Don't know what for. There's no alignment adjustment on this, so I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to get the new one. I'll show you that in 2 secs. Okay, so this is the new lem quarter joint from FCP Euro. And yeah, I've got the right side because it's got the two little bolts for the headlight adjustment. So before I forget, I'm going to go lube up that, put a drop of grease on that little arm on the ball pivot there. Back in a sec. Okay, we're reversing the steps to put it in. These steps aren't crucial. You're going to put, obviously, the ball joint end in first, and then turn the wheel all the way left again, and then tap your front up in, and just worm it in there, wiggle it in there. It's going to be a little tight to get past the CV boot, but it can be done. Just bend the turn the ball joint at the bottom, turn the socket out, and slide it in kind of on an angle, and it'll go in. It just will. And it, again, it takes a little bit of force, tiny bit. Anyway, so we're going to put this back in, and the most crucial part is coming up. We're going to put the bolts back in, not tight. The bottom, this one we can. This ball joint one we can. This one we do not tighten until there is weight on the wheel. I'll explain that in a minute. Okay, hope you guys can see this. So on the torque wrench, I've got it set for about 95 Newton meters, which is about, oh, what is that? Or sorry, 50 Newton meters, which is, no. Oh crap, 50 Newton meters, which is about 35 to 40 foot-pounds. And I'm just gonna tighten that on the torque wrench till it clicks. Oops, if I have it set the right way. I have it backwards. Ugh. Okay, and that plus 1/4 of a turn, so 90 degrees. That is from the factory whisk manual. That's all I can find. So I just try to get it so that 90 won't be slamming into the camera. Okay, should be about there. Okay, so that's pretty approximate. 50 Newton meters plus 90 degrees. And now we're going to do the top one, which is a little bit different. Let me get set up for that and I'll show you in a second. Okay, first I'll explain why and then I'll explain how. So if we install this arm, it goes in like this, and the suspension's dropped. It's down because oh, I did cut myself. Because the weight of the wheel is off and it's not sitting on the wheel. So if we throw it in now and then we pinch, which is what we do with this bolt, when the bolt that goes through here, we'll pinch this, the center does not move. The outside rotates up and down and the rubber provides the flex, up, back and forth, up and down. So if we pinched it here and then jacked the car up, imagine this rubber trying to stretch to here where the car normally sits, and then when you hit a bump, it stretches up to here. It's just going to tear it. So what you want to do is set it and pinch it at ride height. Okay, if that does that make sense? Hopefully, because that's about as sensible as I can make it. So what we're going to do, is put the floor jack, I've got a hockey puck under here, put something soft under. It's under the lower ball joint. And we're going to jack up the car to take off the weight. I've got the bolt pushed temporarily through, the nut lightly threaded on the end of this joint. So it's on, it's in, the bolt is in there, but it's just not tightened. So you'll know when the car starts to come slightly off the axle stand. So the suspension's lifting and taking the weight. And when the axle stand starts to lighten a little bit, then you're basically have the weight of the car on it, and now you're going to tighten that one there. Again, it is an E20. Oh, we've already gone through this. An E20 and a 21. And you're going to torque that to 90 Newton meters, which is, I cannot remember. I think it's 70, but let me check. Okay, so it's 90 Newton meters or 70 foot-pounds. And 70 foot-pounds is approximately, after the 70 foot-pounds, approximately 180 degrees. So you're going to move the wrench an entire half turn. So we're going to tighten that. Hopefully. I don't know if you're going to see much from here. And it's going to be a pain to get that torque wrench in there. But I'm going to do the best I can. Anyway, so again, on the 21 millimeter nut, always torque from the nut side, not the bolt side. So the nut side, you're going to torque that to 90 Newton meters, 70 foot-pounds, or and then 180 degrees. Okay, that's all done. And now don't forget to put the 2 little 10mm bolts in the auto adjuster for the headlight if you have the auto adjuster on your headlight. If you don't, you're done. And thank you very, very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, share. Sharing is apparently what the algorithm likes. If you want more of these videos, leave some comments, whatever. Thanks for watching.